Hey LeaderTribe, Dr. Rob here. Hope you are doing fantastic this week. It's been a great week around the LeaderTribe for certain. We probably had 3 or 4 times as many downloads of our freebie that we gave away last week, the 6 fog cutter questions for personal success and leadership success. Specifically, if you'll remember, there was one question that really, the way that people answered it set apart the really high performers from the wannabes. And so if you haven't done that yet, go ahead and jump over there and you can download that right after this video blog, I should say. And here's what I want to do for this week. We've got another freebie, and it's actually questions for clarity at work. But it's not just questions for clarity. It's, do you have the courage to get the clarity that you need at work? Do you have the courage to get the clarity? Why? Because if you're going to get more clarity, it always takes courage, because usually that clarity is going to come from your boss or your boss's boss. And if you need to have clarity, and let me just give you a quick example. What if there's part of your job, maybe only 10%, something small, but you know what, you were trained on how to do it, but there's a better way to do it. You just can't really remember what it is. And so you've invented some workarounds, or with the software, it's kind of hard. You don't really understand how to use it most effectively. Well, here's what happens. If you go and say, you know what, I think I need a little refresher in this, and I'm embarrassed to admit that, but is there any way I could get help? People go like, oh yeah, not a problem. And as a matter of fact, as soon as you kind of confess and humble yourself and do something like that, other people will do it in return. It's amazing. Your respect actually goes up in other people's eyes when you confess something that humbles yourself. That's what the research shows 100% of the time. Now you might go, well, no, somebody's going to use that against me in the court of law. Well, if they do, they're a jerk, and everyone knows they're a jerk. And if they're kind of walking in going, hey, did you know Rob, he had to ask how to do that software program. Can you believe it? If you heard that, are you going to go like, yeah, what an idiot that is? No, you know what you're going to say? You're going to say, well, good for him. That's awesome. So as we talk about some clarity for questions and having the courage to ask a few questions, I just want to go through a few of them here on the blog, but then you can download the freebie that we have, getting those having the courage to get the clarity you need at work. And there's 10 questions on this that you can ask yourself, or that as you're listing them out, that you might want to say, yep, I want to talk to my boss about these 2 things. First one I want to talk about to you today is, do you know exactly what success looks like to your boss? To your boss, not to you, to your boss. I want to reference back to something that I've done before on here, and that's an employee I had in Washington, D.C. I loved this kid. I mean, he's still a great friend of mine. But what happened is I wanted him to do something a certain way. He wanted to do it his own way. And so success to me looked different than it did to him. And what would happen is he would continue to do it his way, and he would see some success in his way. The only problem was success didn't look like success to me. And so he would say, no, look, I was successful in this area, this area, this area. Look at all the success I've had. And all I could think of is, yeah, but these are the 2 areas that are most important to me, and you failed in both of those. So he's trying to point out 12 areas that he was successful. All I can do is see the 2 areas, those which were most important to me as his boss, that he was unsuccessful in, and eventually we had to end the employment relationship. Now, mind you, he's still a good friend to this day, and he understood where the dissonance was in the communication, where the breakdown was. Certainly in the last couple of months of his employment, I said, well, let's be super clear about this. Do you understand the only 2 areas that are important to me? And he would say, yes, I do, but I could never get the results out of those areas. So what does success look like to your boss? And if you and your boss both have the same exact definition of success, ta-da, you're golden. You're going to be fine. But often what success looks like to me versus what it looks like to my boss, when those are different things, that's a bad day for the employee, because the boss is sitting there going, I'm really not getting what I want out of this guy. And at the same time, I would be working my rear off, giving him all kinds of extra work, and he's still not happy. Why isn't he happy? Because the one thing that he wanted me to do, which might be something easy, that's something I wasn't getting to. So that's one of the questions that are on that those 10 questions that I've got for you this week in the freebie download. Second question is this: are you hoping to be magically discovered for your positive contributions at work? Well, what I mean magically discovered? Well, so often I've had employees or other people have, I've certainly had colleagues who were just doing outstanding work. They were truly doing great work. And but then they're thinking, I never really get any credit for this. I don't really, nobody ever recognizes this good work I'm doing. And I think that they were waiting for somebody to just go, wow, we have magically discovered this person. Let's go and find them and tell them what fine work they're doing. But what happens often is if your work goes into part of a larger project, all they do is they see the whole project and they go, hey, this was a good project. Thanks, you guys. Or part of it was good. Maybe other parts of it were bad. And now what happens? All of your good work is hidden in a project that somebody else thinks is bad. And so what happens is we want other people to see our positive contributions, but we don't want to look like we're bragging about ourselves. That is a real balance that you have to work out as somebody who is a leader or a growing leader or just a person who wants to say, I want to do something that's important, but I want it to be done well, and I'd like people to recognize that, but how in the world do you do that without tooting your own horn? And there are some ways that you can do that with your boss. You can actually go to the person and say, here is my work. I think this is exactly what you're looking for and that this is a positive contribution. Is that your understanding of this as well? And so making sure that they understand and you understand, again, same understanding there, what a positive contribution is. Now, you might say, my boss doesn't think anything's a positive contribution. I'm really not getting the kind of insight or the kind of collegial relationship that I want from this guy. Well, that's another issue, and there are ways to deal with that. And if that's your case, just drop me a line at rob@leadertribe.com and I can give you some help on that particular issue. Hey, third question I want to talk about out of the 3 that we downloaded. Is there some area where you need either counseling or mentoring or coaching? What's funny is in today's world, often people who are very educated people, they use those terms synonymously. Hey, I really need to find a mentor, or I really need to find a coach, thinking that those are the same thing. They are not. And if you can understand the difference between those 3, it will really set you up for success, because sometimes in all of our lives we need counseling, other times we need mentoring, other times we need coaching. As a matter of fact, my PhD dissertation, I went into each of those, and it was one of the seminal works that we were able to say, this is the difference, so we can understand them forever. Because as soon as people call themselves a coach, but then when they meet with someone, they start counseling, bad. It's really bad. Let me tell you really quickly the difference, but again, there's notes on this within that freebie this week. If I'm counseling, that means here's where I am when I'm normal. I'm sort of at this level, but either I'm depressed or something's happened or I'm not sure what's going on. I've gotten insecure in something, and so here's normal and I'm down here somewhere. And what counseling does is it helps you kind of get over whatever that pathology or whatever that bad thing is that's going on in your heart, whatever that depression is, or kind of get a new perspective and get back to, I'm back to where I was, I'm back to normal. That's counseling. Coaching always starts with normal and goes up from there. So it's not going to be something that's going on that's bad that I need to fix. It's going to be, how can I take where I am now and just take it to all kinds of new heights? Here's what's really something. Coaching's totally different from mentoring. Why? Because in mentoring, it's a skill set that you're going to share with the person that you're mentoring, or that I'm going to learn from somebody if they're mentoring me. It's skills that they have to have gone before me, and they have to know those skills and then bring me along with them. That's mentoring. That's not the case in coaching. So is there an area that you need to have some counseling or some mentoring or some coaching? That's just one, again, of the 10 questions that are in that freebie for you. So if you would like to have more courage and get the clarity that you need to be successful at work, I would encourage you, go ahead and download that freebie. As a matter of fact, this might be one that you want to go ahead and just share that with your friends and say, hey, check this out. I think they asked some pretty good questions, something that you were talking about them. You know, somebody who's frustrated at work, normally there's something they can do about it, but it takes a little bit of courage for them to get the clarity. The opportunity is there for you. Hey, this is Dr. Rob. I look forward to talking to you next week. Thank you so much for being a part of the Leader Tribe, and watch out for some bonus videos coming soon.